How's it going, Laser Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to the Zodiac Trial. We are nearing the end of the prayer totem sacrifice route. Now I'm going to have to justify my choices here. We have to choose who we think the traitor is. Now every fibre of my being says it's Bunny for multiple reasons. Firstly, he pushed so hard against Dog. Secondly, he's the only main character that we need information about to access the true ending, and we're running out of routes here. So, also a good thing. Anyway, so we're not going to pick him because I want the fail state first, and then I'll pick him next time. So for now, let's go with Monkey. It's definitely Monkey. What? Why does it have to be me? Horse was just executed. What other explanation could there be? Dragon could be the traitor? No, I don't buy that. Why not? You really think murder is above her type? I don't. But I do think that carrying on pointless victories is above her. If she was a traitor, she would have already won. Huh? Let's be honest, none of us are really a match for her. If she wanted to kill us, she could just beat the shit out of the three of us. Hey now, I think I could put up a pretty good fight. Ha! In your dreams. Want to put your money where your mouth is? Seriously guys? Cut it out. Mouse, you're wrong. Please listen to me. Monkey, Dog was the other traitor. Bunny and Dragon voted for him. You didn't. You're not listening to me. How long have we known each other? Do you think we... I don't know what to think anymore. I hate this, but it has to be you. It isn't. Unable to contain my frustration, I stomped my foot. I angrily walked off to the restroom. I've had enough of these games. I was going to vote her out. I took out my tablet, and I felt blood leave the right side of my neck. No, leave is too kind of word. Spurt out, like a gusher. Why? I had been stabbed in a clean in and out motion. With what? By whom? How would I know? I'm dead. 5 hearts. The one with the victorious personality is very sly. Their game is one built for the long game. The fewer people left, the easier it will be for them to blitz to a victory. Mouse must see through people's facades and let logic guide her. Okie dokie. Let's do it. Bunny. Get ready for some information, we're gonna need it. It's definitely Bunny. What? Mouse, what are you talking about? Bunny couldn't have made Horse get 3 votes, he was already supposed to vote Dragon. Yeah, the argument's between me and Monkey right now. That's exactly what Bunny intended to happen. Why he did things like this. Did things like what? Mouse, you're being ridiculous right now. You voted for Horse, and you used a dead man's tablet to vote for him as well. How? You saw that I only brought my own tablet to the restroom. You didn't need to bring a tablet into a different room. You voted right in front of our very eyes. Huh? Bunny, when you were checking Dog's tablet, you used to vote for Horse without any of us noticing, didn't you? As the other traitor, you must have realized that you were entering an unfavorable situation where there were only 5 of us left. It doesn't surprise me that you prepared for that round. After voting Horse, you guided the conversation so Horse was one of the options we were voting on to tie it. And you could be innocent in this debate. That'll make sense to me. You bastard. You tried to set us up, didn't you son of a bitch? Whoa, hold on a second. Mouse is totally off base. I didn't do anything like that. You think that's evidence that I'm the traitor? This isn't a game about evidence. It's the one about who's the likeliest traitor. And if we're talking about who's suspicious, there are piles and piles of red flags with you. Starting with the formation of the library group. What about it? You said Pig founded the group. No way in hell, she wasn't proactive enough to form something like that. In fact, it looked to me like she was the last to join. She surprised me too, but she was super enthused about it. No, she wasn't. You formed that group by taking the most desperate people and gathering them together. You hoped to take control of the game by swaying the majority. But Dog interrupted that plan by overwhelming your group with numbers, which is probably why you convinced the same people to reform the group and bring in Dragon. I seriously don't know what you're talking about. For a time, you used that group to vote people out. However, for some reason, you sensed that there was a sinking ship and decided to pivot. By offering a hand out to us, you gained our trust while taking out another big competitor. That was the point. It devolved into a complete contest of the group voting out the most suspicious. And being the social manipulator you are, that's the situation you were aiming for. At that point, you were fairly confident that Dog was the other traitor. Since you knew which actions you were responsible for, you could more easily narrow down who the other traitor must be. That's why you contacted with him there, didn't you? Contacted with him? Mouse, you're spitting off nonsense at this point. I was right in front of you guys the whole time. The random comment about Carl Leone? That was some sort of code, wasn't it? A code only fellow cops would get. And now you're just being ridiculous. Carl Leone is a very respected actor, I'll have you know. Really? Name 3 movies he was in. He doesn't do movie work, he acts in television. Then TV shows. Holy Hulls, Shake Hands with Danger, and Frankenstein Cop. I haven't heard of a single one of those shows. How's that my fault? I would know about Frankenstein Cop if that was a thing. Clearly you wouldn't. You and Dog conspired to pin suspicion on Sheep. You're saying I work with Dog? Then why would I vote for him? You voted for him because you realised public sentiment was against him. He had the most votes other than Sheep the round before. Then when you heard Dragon talking about him being suspicious, you decided it was best to jump aboard the bandwagon. This is all ridiculous. Oh yeah? Then who do you think the traitor is? I don't know, Monkey? Dragon? It's not me. Sure as hell not me. You're both right. It's funny. You're totally right, Mouse. This guy's been scummy no matter how you look at it. In all but one vote, he's been on the majority side. That's the kind of situation that only occurs if you're deliberately pulling some strings. The traitor in this case is likely someone who possesses an acute sense of social awareness. That does not appear to be Dragon's style. It is, however, consistent with the personality Bunny has displayed. It's over, Bunny. Just admit it. With an angered look on his face, Bunny started walking towards me. He's going to start physically killing people. He also stuffed his left hand in his pocket. He was walking past Dragon. He had previously inspected Dog's body, so that means... Just as suddenly, he yanked out a golden knife from his pocket and slashed at Dragon's neck. I slammed into him. I'd almost forgotten the last move available to him. With just 4 left, he only had 3 people left. If he could have just ambushed Dragon with a weapon, he might have been able to get away with it. After knocking him to the ground, I started to run away. Bunny sprang back up and tried to grab my foot. Luckily, I pissed Dragon real back and gave him a solid kick to the head. Dragon's attack sent Bunny tumbling to a nearby column. Ah, fucking bitch. That's what you get for trying to fuck with me. These are your true colours. Disgusting. Well, what the fuck was I supposed to do? Curl over and die? I put up with so much shit, done so much shit, and it all led up to me dying in some shitty high school? Fuck that. This whole thing's totally unfair. Why the hell am I being punished? For arresting the right guy? For doing my job? It's bullshit, and you know it, Brian. Tell me, why do I have to go through this? I don't deserve to die like this. And anyone else did? If they didn't want to die, they should have done something about it. Like I did. And how'd that work out for you? It's unfair, unfair, unfair. I want to be a Super Saiyan. I want to. Why am I here for catching a criminal? Doing my job. Is that why you're here? What? I didn't think it's particularly pertinent before this, so I didn't bring it up, but I saw that there was an article ripped out and posted on the board in the Global Studies classroom. It talked about a controversial police shooting. The police officer in it apparently had very little justification for firing and killing a low-level felon, who was later revealed to be unarmed. But ultimately nothing came of it. That's talking about you, isn't it? Jerry Braxton. Jerry Braxton. I knew this was going to work. We need his role. We've got 4 roles and only 3 people. For real, that's you? I heard that story. Just another instance of this city system being completely fucked. Makes sense that this trash would be so open to reckless murder. Bunny, nah, you should have been the one called Pig. Pig. That wasn't me. What? Yes, I was the officer talked about in the story, but the story's wrong. I never shot anyone. You think we'd buy that? Look, I learned how to make people like me from a very young age. I got a lot of practice learning to appease my parents. The secret is just to go along with what other people want. If you let them have control, then they appreciate you. In school, I was pretty popular. I had a lot of friends, everyone liked me. I was actually feeling pretty good about myself, but then I heard that some of my closer friends were actually acting like dicks to other kids at school. I confronted them about it, and just like that, it all fractured. The slightest bit of opposition, and all of a sudden I was the enemy. People I thought were close to me turned on me, bullied me incessantly, and it's not like I had allies from the other kids, because in their eyes, they were my friends for a long time. I was complicit. Complicit, you just said it. Complicit. P-L-I-C-I-T. That's one of the roles. In an instant, I fell from heaven to hell. Why are you telling us this? because it's important to know that I learned from it early on how cruel things were when society turns against you. How quickly your relationships can break. I spent 2.5 hellish years learning that lesson. So when I finally joined the police force, I knew not to fuck things up. Being candid, the force is in a pretty shitty state. There's a lot of corruption, malpractice, and frankly shitty people working there. Chief of Police Bowen is either incredibly incompetent or behind the atmosphere. It was a station full of arseholes. But to fit in, you had to assimilate. I learned my lesson about making my move early. I went along with them. Maybe I went along with them too much, to the point where they got me on camera joining in on things like planting illegal drugs at a crime scene. Fucker. It wasn't my idea. I just had to go along with my senior officers. I knew it was fucked. I was still only working there because I thought I could help combat it in the long run. But then one of Bowen's top men fucked up. They shot someone they shouldn't have shot, and I was asked to take the fall. You went along with that? I was assured that nothing would come of it. And if it went against the force, there was no telling what footage might get out, how the media might spin things. Are you saying the chief of police is blackmailing his police officers? Why didn't you fight against this? Who do you think has more influence? Who would win this fight? And you kept working there? And leaving the force would have fixed anything? Staying definitely wasn't the right option. I don't think you get how things work, Mouse. Unless you let groups control you, you can't get to control the group. It's a give and take relationship. If you go along with what other people say, they're far more likely in turn to be influenced by you. There really wasn't a choice for me. I don't know if you thought your story would have made me sympathetic to you, but it only made me hate your guts more. Let's end this. Wait. What? You don't have to do this. Yeah, we do. No, you don't. Yes, I'll admit it. I'm the victorious personality, which means that I can win with 2 other people. Monkey, Mouse, there's 2 of you. If you just turn against Dragon, the rest of us can get out together. Are you seriously proposing that? Why would we want to work with a murderer? Don't be so dramatic. All I did was press some buttons. Dragon's an actual criminal. A gang leader. I'm a good cop who's trying to reform a broken system. Think about it. We should really get out of this situation. Oh, go fuck yourself. Dragon picked up the knife Bunny had dropped on the floor. Wait. Bunny tried to protest, but Dragon walked up to Bunny with a threatening look in her eyes. In response, Bunny threw a punch at her. It missed, and with an uppercut, Dragon stuck the knife up Bunny's jaw. She pulled it out and blood splattered out. Bunny's eyes shot open and he tried to speak out something. The wound, however, punctured some part of his vocal cord and all he could do was sputter. The final, most brutal death of this race. Not an execution, but a lynching. Dragon stood over Bunny as he collapsed, covered with blood. She turned over to look at me and Monkey. We looked at each other and said nothing. I could hardly condone what had just happened. But I certainly wasn't going to do anything about it. The rest of the race went by quickly. We used the minor trinkets to race toward the end. It would have been close if just the 3 of us used trinkets. However, we operated the dead people's tablets and had them use trinkets as well. It took 3 rounds to reach the finish line. There wasn't much discussion or celebration amongst us survivors. How could there be? There were only 3 of us. My eyes kept wandering to Bunny's sad corpse. He'd fought so hard to survive, and for what? Monkey, Dragon, and myself were the only survivors. I bet Brian was cackling in the viewing room right now. We had well and truly broke down and killed each other until there was almost no one left. Exactly what he wanted. This wasn't a victory. We'd lost too many people to call it that. The only one satisfied with this ending was Brian. And if Brian was satisfied, that means we lost. 5 of spades. If the second core is found in the first 3 rounds, Bunny will be assigned a role that forces him to act. If he finds the prayer statue, he will definitely use it. Bunny is an incredibly sly social player and will be able to make the most of the voting system. On a good day, Mouse might be able to deduce the 2 traitors and stop Bunny from dominating. However, any race where the prayer statue is activated is a race which will end incredibly bloodily. That's not the story we're aiming for. Alright, I think we're ready. I think we've got everything we need to do the main proper ending. If I can figure out how to get back there. I should have saved it, shouldn't I? I'll bring you back. I'm just going to head to the proper ending and I'll bring you back. Okay, we are back. Oh, it's just going to fill it in for us, is it? We are back at the potentially true ending, I believe. We probably won't be able to get to all of it in this episode, but we'll see how far we get. What was Ox's name? Davis, maybe? Yeah, I got Davis. Davis. Okay, good. For the password, we got tool. Yes, I got in. Okay, great. Before I looked at the computer, I went to the next one, the one with the tiger avatar. I tried to picture Tiger's name in my mind. Zahara. Vaguely the name Zahara came to me. Was that the name of one of the witnesses? For this computer's username I input, Zahara. Z-A-H-A-R-A, yep. Okay, good. And then for the password, killer. Again, I was met with success. Yes. I was almost there. One more computer to go. I went to the last computer, the one with the bunny profile picture, and tried to type in the username. What was Bunny's name? For some reason, Jerry came to me. Might that be the lead cop's name? Yes, Jerry. Jerry Braxton. And then for the password, complicit. I'd done it. I racked my brain hard, remembering the names of some of the people involved with the old case. Took some guesses and got through. Though the results were slightly concerning, more importantly, I'd gotten all the computers open. It was weird that the fourth computer was already open, and that there was still a word left unused. Had someone opened the computer already? That didn't matter right now. Maybe that's the judge one. Judge was the other role, but we don't have one for that. What mattered was the fact that I had 3 computer screens to check. I checked them all, and found that only one thing on each of them was an open PNG file. The first computer had a 2, the second a 3, and the third a 4. Combining that with the 9 I found earlier, 2349. It was a code of some sort. But for what? As soon as I checked the file names for all the images, I figured out what it was. Put together, it spelled Pig Minor Trinket. It was unorthodox, but I got my hands on another minor trinket. Yes! My escapade had helped me make more progress for the group. But I wasn't alone in finding trinkets. By the start of the 7th round, we'd found 10 minor trinkets. It really looked like we were on a roll. However, it was at that point we ran into a bit of a problem. Uh-oh. So hold on a second. We spent that entire round and we didn't find anything? That's like really bad, isn't it? We're starting to run out of time. It'd be an awful shame if we weren't able to find enough trinkets by the end. It would be, so why are you saying it like that? Like what? Whatever, I don't have time to deal with you. We've been rather methodical in our search up to this point, have we not? Nobody's been going over ground that's already been searched. If we continue to look for trinkets in vain, things could become quite vexing. You're telling me? We've already done a full tour of this place. What's next? Going back to places we've already seen? How dreary. Some of you have not been doing your fucking job. How hard is it to find these things? Perhaps they're being found but simply not shared. What are you talking about? We're currently under the assumption that everyone is on the same page. However, it is Oh, can it, would you, Snake? First of all, we only need one more trinket. I can use my ability to hitch a ride on any one of you guys. I'm sure there have been places we haven't checked yet, so let's keep looking. I understand the concern. If a mere 2 trinkets are out of reach, the entire enterprise falls apart. I'm not entirely unconvinced Brian forgot to label one of his minor trinkets. What are you talking about? Earlier I found something in the library which had the same shape and build as a trinket. There was nothing written on it. No code or anything. A blank trinket, huh? Was there anything else notable about the scene? Not really. There was a written message that was odd. I have stolen blood from my kin. I didn't really get it though. Stolen blood from my kin, huh? A thought crossed my mind. Something that had stuck out like a sore thumb to me was the fact that certain minor trinkets had specific numbers written in red. Hey everyone, can we pull our minor trinkets on the table right here? I wanted to try looking at the ones we've got so far. I asked and the group complied. There were 3 instances of a number in a sequence being coloured red. Once the first digit, once the third digit, and once the 4th digit. It seemed too important to be coincidental. If the missing trinket had a red digit as well, that'd be 4 numbers, like a 4-digit code. So, what was I supposed to just take whatever number was written in red and put that in the place for the original 12th trinket? If that were the case, then we wouldn't be able to solve this trinket until we found the missing one. But that solution seemed overly simplistic, and I felt like there was some pattern I was seeing with the numbers, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I spent some more time looking at the trinkets. Some of the others had already split off to look for trinkets themselves, but I was onto something. Suddenly I realized the pattern I'd been overlooking. All the 4-digit codes without the red number were divisible by 9. Every single one of them. And every 4-digit code with a red number wasn't. So that meant half thread number was some sort of false number. And the real number would be the number that made the 4-digit code divisible by 9. So for the code 4376, with the number 6 written in red, the real number should actually be 4. If my theory was correct, then the minor trinket Ox found should end with a 4. I worked out the other red numbers and got the code 5x24. 5x24, huh? Now, if only I had that last number. Wait, what was I talking about? If all the codes were divisible by 9, I'd solved it. I pieced together an 11th trinket. I'm going to write that down. 5x49. Honestly, a lot of my deduction was based off guesswork. I had no assurance that I was actually right in my line of thinking. Well, there was really one way of telling for sure. I made my way into an empty classroom and took out my tablet. I pressed the item button, and I typed in 5724. When I submitted it, I was worried I'd be met with an error. However, to my surprise and delight, the code had worked. Yes! I cheered audibly. What is it? Ox entered. He'd been watching me work in silence for some time now. I figured it out. I just input the code for the 11th minor trinket. Oh? Well, good for you. It appears we'll be able to finish things in the next 2 rounds, thanks to you. Very solid work. Oh, thanks. However, I must say, were you supposed to use your ability on one of us? What now? Oh, well, you can use your ability. I'll move first, so you'll move 1 space after me. And then you can use the code I just inputted next round, and I'll use my ability on you. That should get everything sorted, right? Indeed it should. And like that, we had a plan. After a brief celebration, we gathered everyone back into the cafeteria and told them the good news. Needless to say, everyone was very enthused that the nightmare would soon be over. Let's go. Thank God this will finally be over. I must say, there wasn't much of a climax to the action. The tension just kind of slowly fizzled out. Good. Well, thank God for that. Yeah. Anyways, I suppose that means we should all use our minor trinkets this round, right? Correct. 2 more rounds and we're done. 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds. But it wasn't like there was anything to be worried about. There were no more obstacles in the way of group unity. People hung around the general area of the cafeteria, going to private rooms and inputting their actions at their leisure. While there was still some tension, people were far calmer than they'd been before. I heard a number of people breaking into conversations. I just don't get why my dog can't learn basic tricks. They're not hard at all, I could do them. See, this is why cats are better. They're just chill. They don't do tricks, and you don't expect them to. Tiger, have you been using positive reinforcement when teaching your dog a trick? What's that? It's training a brain to connect positive stimuli with a certain pattern of behavior. Pavlov actually makes great strides in this field by... This is going to be boring, isn't it? I don't think so. So the answer is yes. Monkey frowned. I guess I just don't get it. Aaron Morris did kill Amadeus Bowen, right? I thought that was proven. Of course he did. I proved that myself. There really isn't any other way for it to have gone. I investigated the suspects myself. You included, Mr. Rooster. To be honest, I thought it was the secretary at first. Good thing for her that the artist's testimonies backed her up. So if it's all so clear, why is the guy so sure his dad was innocent? Delusion, most likely. A son couldn't reconcile his nice father with the act of murder. His dad wasn't a bad person, so the bad people had to be elsewhere. A childish mindset through and through. Even if he killed Amadeus, that doesn't make the man a bad person. I mean, there's a saying about ill dead people or whatever, but fuck that dude. He sucked big time. Really? I don't know so much about that. All I know is that the public certainly loved him. For once, Rooster is right. I certainly don't condone murder, but I don't exactly weep for Amadeus Bowen. After looking into the case, there are certainly many bad stories about that man. Ox gets it. Dipshit refused to ever invest any funding into my films. Artless cretin. Well, that wasn't exactly what I was referring to, but whatever. For the most part, I kept to myself. I was just going over everything in my head, overwhelmed by it all. When the round ended, everyone moved exactly 11 spaces, except for Ox, who moved 10. That was that then. One more cycle would settle things. We were finally reaching an end. Enough time had passed, so I decided to go into the nearby classroom and input the code for my minor trinket. Finally. Finally with this, the nightmare would be over. It was the last thing I needed to do to settle things once and for all. I walked into the room and activated my ability on Ox. Simple as that. Things were now settled. However, before I could leave the room, a voice crackled on over the speakers.
Well, are you happy, Mouse? Happy that you were able to band together to finish things without any casualties?
I imagine you aren't.
You think so little of me. Mouse, you must understand. This too was an outcome I intended to be possible. Granted, I didn't think it likely. Still, it was always on the table. If you were all truly innocent of heart, you wouldn't be easily swayed by my words. You'd be calm, rational, work as a group, and evade the trap set for you.
And we did just that. Doesn't that prove you're wrong? Prove that you're going through all this trouble was for nothing?
Perhaps. However, I wonder how many times you would have had to fail before you could get a success like this.
Had to fail? The hell does that mean?
Had this outcome been the result of a cosmic dice roll, I was just wondering how many times God would have to roll those die to see something like this. Oh, I don't know, 52? I imagine quite a few times. I imagine more often than not, your sin would doom you.
Sounds like a lot of bullshit coming from a sore loser. I don't know how little you think of us, but I know for sure that no matter how many times you put us through this, we'd always band together.
If you say so.
We know that's not true. You can only act smug for so long, Brian. Soon enough, we're going to be out of this place, and then you're going to jail for a long time.
Indeed, I imagine the police won't look too favourably on all of this.
My only regret is that I won't be able to land a punch on your face myself.
You know, if you really want to, I'll let you.
For a second, my body froze. What do you mean?
Outside the school, there's a football field. There's a small building right beside the fence surrounding that field. I've been using that as my base of operations. So if you want to come find me, to get justice yourself, that's where I'll be.
And you're telling me this because...
Think of it as a reward for a perfect victory.
Do I look dumb to you? This smells of an obvious trap. No way in hell I'm going there by myself.
Suit yourself. Just thought you might like to know.
And with that, the speaker's cut off. Jeez, even after the game has failed, Brian still finds ways to piss me off. What do you think he was doing, telling me his location like that? Just doesn't make any sense. Whatever, why bother thinking about it for too long? I strode out of the classroom I'd taken shelter in, back to the cafeteria. There I continued to wait. As the round's deadline got closer, more and more people took excursions to separate rooms, all presumably inputting the code for their minor trinket, bringing them to victory. I didn't pay too much mind, I was still busy fuming about Brian. However, something in particular caught my eye, and that something was Dragon angrily pulling Snake down the hallway towards the very end of the round. That didn't look good. I knew it wasn't my place, but I thought it strange, not to mention a little disconcerting. Conflict of any kind this late in the game didn't sit well with me. I thought about following after them, to see what the matter was, to see if I could resolve it. What to do. Shit, we're gonna have to wrap it up. I know, we're at the very end. This is the mad cliffhanger, and the next episode might be 15 minutes long. I don't know, but we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're out of time for today, and in the next one we will intervene, probably die somehow, and then not intervene, and possibly also die somehow. I don't know. We'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.